There's so much to talk about, and preparing a TED Talk is really, really hard. That's what I discovered. I would go back and I'd be like, oh, my intro this, my intro that. Oh, I got to tie it into this. I got to pull into the conclusion that has to wrap around this perfect circle. It'll be amazing. And last night I was still up trying to find that perfect circle, and it became more like a big old squiggle. It was going everywhere. But something common I've noticed from everybody that has spoken is that they've expressed their passion, their sincerity in what they're doing. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. And sincerity is actually my passion. And so as a documentary filmmaker, it's something I'm very, very concerned with. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this sincerity can help connect us as a society and how that's going to help push us forward in the future. So people are programmed to connect to other people. It's just how we are. We're social beings. We like to engage with one another. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. And my primary motivation as a filmmaker is to tell these stories that are going to connect people to other people. And there's many different kinds of stories, especially today. Everybody is trying to get you with their right hook, their right anecdote, their right story. And by the time I'm done with this talk alone, there's going to be 2 more weeks of stories uploaded on YouTube. So you can see it's kind of intimidating to be a filmmaker. How do I get my story out there? And not only have people watch it, but engage with it, act on it, promote and share it. And especially when I don't work with cats. It's not something I do. And I think we learn a really important lesson from history. The very first motion camera technology was very literally groundbreaking. It totally changed everything that we knew about media. The camera technology itself could shoot, develop, and project the film using all of the same mechanism. It was really incredible. And the Lumiere brothers, who invented the camera, could have showcased this technology in 100 different ways and promoted it. They chose a very specific way, which I'll talk about. In contrast to that, Thomas Edison, who came out with a big old camera about the same time, decided that he wanted to showcase his technology by having sideshow talents come in and talk and perform. So doing crazy kind of sideshow things that were entertaining, and he would showcase that. The Lumiere brothers, however, they would send these cameramen out from town to town, kind of skipping around. They would film these very common scenes, whether that was just a vista of the town, a train arriving at a station, workers leaving a factory, this very commonplace, normal things. And this was an interesting way, kind of an interesting approach. It definitely wasn't as flashy, but they had a reason behind it. And so what would happen is that after they would film it, they'd sit down, develop the film, and then they would go to the main plaza to project it that night. And people would come and pay to see the film and see the new technology. But they wouldn't only come to see that. They would come to see themselves and their friends and their neighbors in the films. Very simply, the first moving picture technology was also kind of the first interactive technology. And the Lumieres highlighted something that has largely since been forgotten. They showed life as it is, just plain old, boring life as it is. And there's something very magical about that. They show small glimpses of what makes life both ordinary and special at the same time. And watching the clips today, you can still get a sense of that magic. There's something engaging about it, watching these people interact. And part of that magic is the basic human desire that we have to connect. And to connect, we want to empathize. To empathize, we have to relate. And to relate, it's much easier to relate when we have common ground. And film's a great way to relate to people because you can kind of see what's happening in front of you. It's easy to make and find that common ground. And despite how unique each of us is in our appearance, our values, our ideas, our economic status, our beliefs, I strongly believe that we're very much more similar than we are different. And as a society, I think that we've forgotten that truth. We like to complicate, embellish, argue, exaggerate, and excuse. And we've forgotten the simple, sincere basis of our communication. And advertisers are always looking to find that little hook. They're always trying to grab us and connect us with a product or a service that they're promoting. And they do this by inventing or concocting stories to try to make us feel bad about what we don't have or what we don't need, really. And if we're not part of what they're promoting, they want to grab us and make us part of that. But what they forget is they're forgetting the human connection. They appeal to our vanity instead of appealing to our humanity. And it's perhaps the most insincere story that can be told. And again, they've forgotten that this kind of humanity is why we want to connect to each other. And it's this human connection that makes the Lumiere's film so special. And that human connection from way back in the late 1890s all the way to today, the human connection that made the Lumiere film so special is what makes this whole social media movement so special today. It's the same basis. And the internet gives us a great place to represent ourselves and exalt the ordinary. It gives us a platform to tell the simple and sincere stories that will help connect us as a society. And it allows us to connect in ways that we never thought were possible before. And I think that will continue to allow us to connect in many different ways that we never thought were possible. And almost immediately, you can see some of the most personal moments in somebody's life through a status update or a blog or a tweet or a YouTube video. And it's something that's a little scary. It's something that many people fear. I think we can all fear this. I'm kind of terrified right now that I have all these cameras that I've actually hired for the event. They're filming me, and this will be broadcast. It's pretty scary. But there's something happens when we accept that fear. We drop our inhibitions, and we just accept that vulnerability. It's that vulnerability that makes us human, and it's that humanity, again, that helps us to connect. And so everybody that I work with a lot of people as a filmmaker, and from all walks of life, poor, rich, successful, unsuccessful, just a really interesting myriad of people, and it's fun to see everybody. But everybody is afraid of cameras. And so when I put the camera in front of them, all of a sudden they're like, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? I don't know how to act in front of the camera. So after this goes on for a little while, hopefully we've kind of gotten comfortable enough that they can drop their inhibitions and get to themselves and share the sincere story that they are telling. When they do this, there's nothing more powerful. When they do this, there's nothing more that connects me to them as I'm listening to this. And you can see in some of the videos that they really drive that point home. That human connection comes first. Any connection to a product or a service or anything like that comes secondary. As we're talking about stories, and everybody has shared our stories, everybody here at TED has excellently shared their own vulnerability, their own experiences with us. And it's my hope that we can all kind of take this example and become more vulnerable in our approaches to sharing our media and sharing our stories. As we do so, I'm very confident that we'll be able to forge new connections, discover things that we had never discovered before. It's the humanity that really drives things like TED. And it's the humanity that's really going to help drive the changes that exist in the world for tomorrow. And I believe that it's the simple, sincere story that can really communicate that humanity. Thank you.